Good point. There's a lot of hip movement that goes in the house.
You moved and the shaker stood still. That's what I noticed.
I hit both at the same time.
No, it's like walking and chewing gum. Next, the man who looks somewhere between Abe Lincoln and a Salem witch. Sweet Johnny High Five with Dr. Star. You know what I'm worried about? I'm going to tell you, I have a concern. Tango, I'm over here. Tango's in sunglasses, he has no idea where I am.
I see it.
I have genuine concern.
Okay.
That Jared's going to hit his head on that light fixture. I just know he's a little ceiling.
Yeah, that's legitimate.
And
yeah.
So people, please, whenever he steps out on stage, just scream in unison, duck! Yeah.
This one moves his hair to it.
It's if his hair, and this is not a joke, kids, heed my words. If you're 7 feet tall and your hair is even slightly damp from a relaxing shower, and you flip it in this venue, you're a dead man. It's going to hit that light, and down you'll go.
Yeah. Not to mention everyone behind you gets wet.
Yeah. and that's it's a lose-lose for everybody. Yeah. You're dead, they're damp. There are no winners. But it looks good. It looks good. There's an incredible corpse. Speaking of beautiful corpses, on the drums tonight. He's the only guy up there not wearing the wig. Cosplay! I've saved this intro for last because this has been a tough week for this man. He is not from this country. He's from a little place we like to call England. And he's still resentful that we took off and started our own country. And the part that he's bummed about is not that he had to come play the show. He loves you people and he just loves playing and, quite frankly, drinking for free. But what got his goat is that we shoved him in the Ben Franklin outfit, really rubbing his nose in the hole. And I know we left you guys and bailed on you, and now we're a superpower, but we're honor our founding fathers. It's a bit of a slap in the face. So, Richard, how are you handling it?
You got me the wrong color.
Oh, you mean red? You're the Union Jack red coat, so what? Well, that would be. It was so hard, red. Wow, you really haven't let it go. Not since 1776 have you seen such anger about this.
You know what else he hasn't let go? His mediocre accent.
No. You know, just because you have Paul McCartney's bass doesn't make you British. On the bass guitar, Sir Richard Furlong! You know what? It's fun. We're here. We're doing the show. Let's get this thing started, shall we? Welcome to Supernatural DC, everybody. You know what? It happened all the time back in the day. At ye old raves. Yeah. It was the hat, the tri-cornered hat, did you know? We're supposed to probably bring out the guest, but I'm kind of bummed because we were going to do the rules and regulations, and then Adam did the rules and regulations, and it's like, well, there goes that bit.
Well, I think I actually said more to come on that.
Oh, it is?
Just kind of teeing it up for you.
Oh, he was? Then let me pull out my official rules and regulations envelope with scribble on it. This is the original rules and regulations envelope with scribble on it. It was scribbled in Vegas, 2013. So, even though you've already heard the rules and regulations, I don't care. This is my event, my stage. I'm going to do rules and regulations. Gentlemen? Oh, start over! Come on, guys! Pretend like you do it for a living. Weeks of rain. Much better. See, you're singing real. It doesn't matter what I say. If I say real or regulation, or if I just go, take it.
Hey, I just got here.
Listen, you bought a seat. Sit in the seat. Don't be a jerk. If you have any questions, you have any problems, please, for the love of God, don't even come near me. Don't ask questions that are annoying to everyone in the house, but then again, everybody's so glad to be here that there are no annoying questions, just annoying people. So in other words, ask what you want. This is the most pointless rule of all. Please don't record or film the show. If you forget this rule, a video of me saying it will be posted on YouTube in 5 seconds. Yeah, that's real variations. And by the way, that's as tight as that song is going to get. It's only going to fall apart more as the movie goes along. Here's the thing I think is interesting in show business. You feel like, I know you guys are thinking, wow, they just slapped this act together. No, weeks of rehearsal. Everything you see on stage is scripted and it's airtight. Right now it's time for Hot Bell to take a sip of water. Boom, I knew it. It's part of the script. It's part of the bit. The whole screw up in the opening, rehearsed it. The whole screw up at the end, rehearsed it. The way Rob looks like he has no idea what he's doing up on stage. It's a bit. And then wait, hey, Mandy, can we start? Is he back there? Yes. All right. Well, geez. Don't be angry about it.
Yeah. There's a lot in that.
Yeah, it was. All right, let's bring out the little ball of fire himself. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start the party. Osric Chau!
Like that feeling.
Dean would be proud.
But you may die. Ronnie will live at least a while. Dying in your bed many years from now. Would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance? Just one chance to come back here to tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they will never freedom! That's how it really happened too. Can you give it up to Last Graceman? I love not being the only guy dressed up here. Thank you guys. I don't know if it's obvious, but I'm dressed up as Dean from Live from the Real Girl. First off, I have to thank my cosplayers, Isa, Sherry, and Gretchen Lauzus. They're somewhere. Can you stand up? They are literally the last row. Also dressed up as Dean and Sam in some other episode I've yet to get to, but I will eventually. I got a better mic. This is work. Can everyone hear me? Yeah. Okay. Yep. Switch it. Okay. Well, that was it. Is that the one? Okay. Line's gonna be there. Okay. This room is dark. I actually can't see faces. This is very odd for me. My eyes are terrible. But I'm hi. This is the narrowest and longest room I've ever been in. This is great. Yeah, I'm a big fan of medieval things. If I wasn't coming to DZCon this weekend, I would be at a Renaissance fair in Anaheim. It just made sense to do this. The sword, the boots are are awesome. It was bored, but I think these are like my favorite things. I'm gonna have to. I think you can only buy them at Renaissance Fair, so I'm gonna have to go to one and pick up a pair. They're pretty stylish and they feel like a rock quarry in here. Yeah, but this was great. I was just telling people I just went to the rap party for Supernatural. It was great. I saw Curtis Armstrong for the first time in a while, and I have to thank you guys for this because first thing, so I see him across the room. I'm walking like, and we just make eye contact, and he just looks at me like, I'm like, hey Curtis. He's like, do you know what I've got to go through? It's like, Kevin this, Kevin that. Like at first I was like, I was trying to be apologetic and like it wasn't my fault. But now I would just kill him all over again. But apparently he's been getting harassed quite a bit. And thank you for, I mean not for harassing him, but thank you for caring. It was nice to talk to Curtis. It was a little bit odd. I'm like, he killed me. Like I couldn't even get that out of my head. I'm like, yes, you're just an actor, yes. I sang Revenge of the Nerds. But you're also the guy that killed me. So it was a little bit hard to get that out of my head. But it was such a nice rap party. There was a couple of fans there too, which was really cool. But it was just like seeing everyone that I haven't seen for so long. You know, bothering up the writers. I'm like, hey, write Kevin back on the show. Right? And they're just like, yeah, we'll do that. But it was fun. And then actually, I don't know if you know, but there's a couple of Supernatural bands, like cast and crew in the show, are like they formed their own bands. It was like three of them. I had no idea. Like our executive producer, he's the singer in one of them. That was pretty awesome. Pretty sure there are videos up online with that. Yeah, God, this show is killing me. It's changed my life, and how do you do it? How do you do it? I mean, you certainly don't plan for these things, you know. It's you know, you get the calls to go, you're working on the show, cool, and then your life changes completely, and all of a sudden you're like dressed up on stage all the time. You know, it's such a weird thing. You know, like, I'm in Washington D.C. dressed up as the guy, dressed up as the guy in costume, dressed up as a guy dressed up in something else. And of course, escalations have to go up from here. I don't know. I'm scared. Like this year has been, it's been busy. I mean, yeah. When I said I was going to cosplay at every single con, I forgot that there were so many of them. It's a lot of work. So costumers is a thank you, Gretchen. It's amazing. Like I cannot thank cosplayers enough. Like, every single person that's dressed up here, like the time, the effort that you put into it, I can only imagine. That's yeah. If I were to do this on my own for every single one of the conventions, I don't think I could do anything else. Honestly, I would have to like turn down all the jobs. That, like, Oz, we got you back on an episode. I'm like, sorry guys, I have to do my cosplay. I'm dressing up as Dean again. But what do you guys do? Can I read the script at least, and I can like plan for next year? Yeah, I don't know. It's long nights, but it's a lot of fun. I gotta say, this was. I think this is one of my favorite outfits now. Like Rapunzel, Kevin freaking Solo. Yeah, these are fun. I still remember wearing Princess Bubblegum. I was telling you, I put it on in like instant regret. This is the worst decision of my life. And now it's like, okay, I haven't done a wig in a while, but this is actually feeling nice. My brain's getting a good squeeze. I'll probably have a headache before the end of this panel. But it's a good feeling to be doing this. So I can't see, but are there any questions from people? No?
We're going to get people to come up to the microphones on both sides of the room. Okay.
So I'm happy to answer questions and stuff. I mean, I could just talk randomly, but I'm not Sebastian Roche, and I'm not going to end up humping anything before the end. So if you're waiting for that, sorry. These pants aren't going to stay on anyways. Because it's really loose and this belt is fake. That's why. Okay. Hi.
Hi, I noticed a picture that you put up where it looks like you're doing like a kettlebell workout with 2 other people.
Oh yeah, that's my brother and his girlfriend. So my brother runs a fitness gym in Vancouver. If you're ever in Vancouver, anyone that wants to go,
And
please
a lot
check
of
it
us
out.
do go to Vancouver, so like addresses for that would help.
It's on his site, and I'm there all the time. So if you want to hang out, that's where you'll find me. But yeah, I try to work out as much as I can. Having a brother that runs his own gym definitely helps because.
It looked like it was a shot out of a video. Was it an exercise video?
No, it was. We're just.
Might I suggest one?
Sure. He was doing promo shots for his thing. He was like, "Oh, let's get in here." I'm like, "Okay, fine." And then we just did it. I mean, I used to be like an exercise fanatic. It used to be my life. Like when I was in martial arts, I trained martial arts. I'd wake up, at 6 a.m., go eat breakfast, go train for 3 hours, go have lunch, train for another 3 hours, take a break, watch another class, train. And then we'd have dinner, we'd do some weight training, go back, watch videos, sleep. And I did this for 6-7 months in China. So like, especially in China, we had nothing else, right? We were living in the schools, like boarding school, and so it was a really big part of my life. So anytime like I see something like that, I can't help but do it. So having a brother, yeah, sorry.
Is the studio within walking distance of the Wall Center in Vancouver?
No, it's in Richmond. It's close to the airport, actually.
Oh, okay. So we can hit it on the way out to that.
I guess so. If you're talking about going during the con.
I'm there Tuesday to Tuesday, not just for the con.
Okay, then that's fine. It's not that big of a place. I don't know how many people it can hold. Yeah, it's right. It's close to an IKEA. It's like behind a future shop. It's fine. If you go though, I'm gonna make you work out. So keep that in mind. All right, thank you. Hey.
Hi. I was wondering, what was your favorite episode to film, and what's been your favorite episode to watch, and why?
With me in it or without me?
Well, if you're filming it, I'm assuming you're in it.
Not necessarily. And sometimes I'm like creeping in the bushes. This is a lot of fun.
I guess you can add what was your favorite episode to creep on.
Every episode with Mark in it. The favorite one to film it's got to be still my first episode ever. There's just so much happening. It's such an unreal week, right? I mean, that's like that week really started this whole crazy thing, whatever this happens to be. But it was like the first day, right? Met Jared. Oh, I'm gonna be a dad, like maybe in a couple hours, right? It was like this odd feeling, and I got to do stunts and like my own. One and only day ever, I got to do stunts where we did when I got struck by lightning, they hoisted me up on this thing, and it was like a really uncomfortable, like they gave me 2 options, like either a full body cast where like you can either lie on a bed, or you can kind of have your like ribs squeezed, and it's going to be really uncomfortable. You might not be able to breathe, but it'll look a lot better. And so of course I go for that option. And so for like 4 hours, I'm like, and then we had a ratchet one, which is when I'm running away from Sam. Oh, that was great. Because me and Jared are really competitive, and this kind of started it off. So Jared's like, it's like, yeah, my legs are really long. I'm just gonna give you like an extra couple of meters. And I just look at him, I'm like, okay, sure. Because I used to be a sprinter, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm sure he's fast, but I'm like, he can only be so fast. So we go, and I just run straight across. I'm like, whoa, okay, that was too fast. It was too fast. And Jared's like out of breath, like, what the? I'm like, yes, point 1. That started the whole competitive streak with us, I think. And then so we turned it into zigzags, and obviously you couldn't go that far back. So I mean, that was fun. Anytime I get to run, because of the nerves, you come in, there's this group of people that know each other for 8 years. It's like, you're the new guy. So it was really good to just get that out of the system. And then with the running around, there was Meg does this clothesline on me. And this was fun. This was the first time I had it done. They had this harness. They have this harness attached to me and a rope. And basically, it's called a dead man something. But basically, it's wedged into the floor, so I could, after a certain point, it just stops, right, and I fall right back.
So you were on a leash.
Yeah, exactly. I was on a leash, I was like hammered into the ground, and I just run it, just boom, and you just go right down. So that was fun, just because I love doing stunts, and that was the only day I ever got to do stunts, so, or only episode. So first episode was funnest. To watch, fun to watch. Most memorable is when I died, obviously.
We don't like to talk about that.
Well, it was the anticipation of it more than anything that really killed me. Wow. Right. In terms of fun, the episode, was it 8/21? The one with Crowley. That's fun.
Yeah.
Because I like to look at my shit. Yeah, it was fun. It was the only time when Mark or Crowley didn't get to be Crowley. It was nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey.
Hey, so obviously this opportunity has raised your profile and given you a lot more exposure. If you had the chance now that you are to be on any other show or movie franchise or whatever, pick your own role, what would you want to do?
Oh, that's a good question. That's like first and foremost that a lot of actors think about. I don't know if they ever get to the point where that's the one. As an actor, you always want to challenge yourself, right? It's something you've played over and over again. Yeah, it's easy. You don't have to think about it. It's an easy paycheck. But that's not why I'm in the business anyways. You want to do something that really takes you out of your comfort zone, that makes you, it's like, I don't know if I can do this, right? But it's a challenge, and eventually you're going to overcome those challenges. For me, it's always been the diversity, the racial stereotypes. That's always been a thing that I struggled with, more so growing up. Nowadays, it's better. So I would say one of my biggest goals in life and in this industry, this career, is to really get not just Asian, Chinese people, but like minorities in general. I'd love to see more minorities out there. So if I could be part of that movement,
So if you were going to get another, this is the Chinese guy role, if you could have anything, like you could be James Bond, what would it be?
then I would love to go back to my action roots and do some more action roles where I get to do my own stunts. It's where I feel comfortable. I'm a very physical actor. I like to stay in shape. I like to do crazy things. Like that's when I feel that I'm actually earning what I get. When everyone else on set's like, oh, okay, I can do that. Like, oh, I can't believe he's putting himself through that. Like that's the stuff I like to do. So I'm just going there. I'm like, hey, some actors get to do that and they get paid really well. But it's, I really feel like I'm earning it when I come home with bruises and blisters. And, yeah, so that's the kind of stuff I'd love to do. So maybe like a Braveheart kind of a thing. Yeah, a Marvel movie. Yes, those big franchises, but basically a character that doesn't have to be specifically, it doesn't matter what race they are. They're just a character, it's just a person. Especially in this stage and age, yeah, it's a character, right? It's not like he's a Chinese character. He's a white guy. It's just a character that happens to be Chinese, happens to be Caucasian. Just characters in general. Yeah. Okay.
I was wondering what the weirdest question you've ever gotten at a convention is.
Are you gonna ask one? Is that? Weirdest question. I don't know. I feel like I get pretty. I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones. Because I've heard a lot of weird questions.
Right, then what's the weirdest one you've ever heard asked?
It's probably to like Jared. No, it's probably to Nisha. Who am I kidding? That is a good question, actually. I feel like there's so many of them that I can't even think of one. I just assume that there are hundreds of them. I don't know if there are any like good questions that he's been asked. They're all like so off of anything. I don't know. Do you have any that come to mind?
Not really. I was just wondering,
Like for me, I don't get to see all the panels, but I think a lot of people don't give fans enough credit. Like when I talk to like my friends, or they're like, they must ask super awkward questions. I'm like, no, I know. Well, like most of the fan base are really intelligent people, and they ask like good questions, just out of curiosity. And that's surprising to a lot of people. And maybe I'm having those preconceptions. Like, yeah, of course, you guys are gonna ask weird questions. But I don't know. I don't think I have been asked anything weird that what's your favorite song? That's so normal. It's weird. I don't. Weirdos. What is my favorite song? If I have a favorite song, actually. It's probably a Backstreet Boys song. I think.
It's it better.
Oh, we're going. Okay, so growing up, yeah, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. I was always a Backstreet Boys guy. I had my black and blue CD in my Walkman. I still remember that. I'd like walk from it took the bus. Walk from the bus to the school. It was like 5 blocks, residential. But it's so embarrassing. You know how you're listening, no one else can hear the song. And this was back in the day when I used to watch music videos. I don't know if anyone's seen like the music videos to show me the meaning of being lonely. It's like super emo, but you're like lip syncing the words while you're walking down the middle of the street. And it's like the weirdest thing. And if you ever saw yourself doing this, I don't know, I'd probably pee my pants laughing. Yeah, that was a phase. That was like at least 7 years of my life. Yeah. You're welcome.
Hi. So I don't know if you realize, but this weekend marks a year that you've been doing Supernatural Convention. So congratulations on that.
That was
Last year was your first convention. So congratulations on a year doing conventions. That's awesome.
Yeah, Jersey was this weekend last year.
Yes.
I'm glad that everyone, like, one of the best things about being on this show is, like, you never forget anniversaries. It's like, everyone's like, it's your birthday, by the way! I'm like, oh my god, that's my birthday. Thank you.
Well, related to that, I would love to hear some of the highlights, like some of your favorite aspects of doing the con, some of the most memorable conventions that you've done, your favorite cosplays that you've done, because it's been an exciting year from what I can tell, and I'd love to hear some of your favorite parts.
Okay, so, like, this whole cosplay stuff, it started off in Birmingham, England, actually. This was my first, I think this was my second con ever, and, super excited. I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to England on a spring convention. And so I'm like, I'm looking through like the listings and anything I can find online, and I see that there's it's a costume party, it's a superhero theme. And so I bring a costume, and so I'm carrying, I love the Hulk. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to do the Hulk, but if I try to get like those big, it never looks right. So I'm like, I'm gonna do like this weird mashup. Like, I'm a prophet, I'll do like a Hulk/prophet. Everyone ended up calling me Gandalf. So anyways, I go to the hotel, and I traveled really light. This one thing I had to check in was the staff. Prophets have staffs. It just took me a long time to find. So I had this staff that I checked in, and I'm carrying the staff with my backpack around. I think it was Richard. He's like, why are you holding a stick? I'm like, it's a staff. Like, it's a staff because I'm dressing up as like a Hulk prophet thing for the costume thing. And he's like, what costume thing? I'm like, what do you mean? And Rick Worthy was there too. I'm like, Rick, what are you dressing up as? He's like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean you're not dressing up? I'm like, it's a superhero themed party. And yeah, so apparently I was like, all the attendees dressed up, but none of the guests had any idea of it, except for me. So I'm like, well,
brought everything. And so I painted myself green and I, went in my costume. I'm like, I'm dressed up, and everyone, all the guests are like, oh man, what a weirdo. And there's gonna be like another couple of cons like this. So I dressed up for that, and then I'm like, okay, that wasn't so bad. It was fun. I was green for like 3 days after that. Some good memories. And then it just, and I think that was like the starting point, and it made such a memorable con experience. And the idea occurred to me, I'm like, you know what, if I dress up as there's something different every con, it'll at least help me remember. Because I'm actually, I don't take that many photos. I'm really bad at it. I have to keep, I'll take photos so you can remember these things. I'm like, no, I'll relive the experience if anything. If I forget it wasn't worth, remembering. So, taking photos was a thing that I actively tried to do. So I'm like, if I wear something different at every convention, I'm going to know which convention it is. So, was it Dallas? It was Dallas. And it was like the most normal thing. So my mindset was like, okay, it's convention, people dress up as conventions, they just get from Comic-Con, everyone dressed up. And so for Dallas, I put together Princess Bubblegum. I'm like, I don't want to do another a guy character. That's so obvious. I wanted to do Adventure Time. You gotta do Adventure Time. Finn is, it's too easy. I can't, at Comic-Con I had no costume, so I just bought a Finn hat with, the shirt. It was so easy. I put it together while I was walking through Comic-Con. You can't do something that easy. I'm like, Jake, well, that's so obvious. I'm like, Princess, Lumpy Space Princess. I'm like, oh, I would love to do that, but that's gonna take a lot of work. So Princess Bubblegum ended up being, I'm like, I'll do a gender bending. So it was like the best decision that I thought. It seemed so normal until I got in there, put it on, again, immediately regretted it, but I didn't have the time to take it off. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. Again, bumped into Richard down the hall. He's like, what? What are you wearing? I'm like, it's Princess Bubblegum. Adventure Time, because I expect everyone to know what Adventure Time is for me. Right, and then that happened, and then I got a lot of my agents and managers gave me a call. It's like, Osric, we saw. I'm like, yeah. It's like, people go to conventions to meet Osric Chau, not to meet Osric as Princess Bubblegum. I'm like, but it's so much fun. So then I'm like, okay, fine. If it's a problem, then I won't dress up. So for Chicago, I didn't dress up. I'm like, okay, I'll go as normal, whatever. And turns out it was Halloween. So again, I'm not dressed up. You're just like, it's Halloween. Why did you bring a costume? I'm like, come on, I can't win with you people. So the one after that, I'm like, okay, I don't care. This might be my last convention ever, but I'm gonna dress up. I'm gonna do Rapunzel, because I saw a lot of fan art, and I love that fan art. I'm like, got a frying pan. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be my last convention ever, and it ended up being the first of many. So, yeah, the cosplay is definitely very memorable. I think at every con I end up talking to a handful of people that you just really connect with. Honestly, you guys are the reason why we're here, and it's great to be able to interact and talk to, get to know a fan base. I feel like it's very rare. So yeah, honestly, you guys are a big part of it, right? So many familiar faces. It's I don't know, it's not something that you really expect or plan or can plan for. So that's been really nice too.
Thank you very much.
No. So
Hi, you're gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna give you a con memory, okay?
sure.
This is not my question,
Okay.
and she knows who she is because last night when we saw your lovely shorts.
They were swim trunks.
Okay. Well, they were lovely. Okay.
Okay.
And afterwards, she leaned over to me and whispered to me, "Can you really bounce a nickel off that ass?" So there's your question.
Guys, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Anybody? Volunteers, people?
I'll do it.
Okay, that's from working out at the gym. Squats Squats. And then, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, well, what was your question? Was that your question?
That was my question.
I'm pretty sure you can bounce a nickel off anyone's ass. I mean, depends on how hard you're throwing it.
Well, just thank you for the squats, really. And I'm very sorry for doing that to you. But I
That's
love
okay.
you so.
You know what? It's actually a pretty common thing with a lot of martial artists. For us, it was a lot of acrobatics, so it's the jumping. So we call it a jumper's butt. So for like years, like even now, it's hard to find pants that fit properly. So they'll either can't go, like skinny jeans can't even try. They either can't go over my thighs, or if they can, then like the waist is like extra like 5 inches. It's really weird. So stretchy pants. All right. Hi. Hey, I think I have to step a little bit closer to the mic. Hi, how are you?
Hi, yeah. Hi. This is my first convention.
Welcome to your first convention. Don't let us scare you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I was wondering, have you gone to the zoo? It's free.
I was just talking about this. I was just talking about, like, maybe I'll skip the panel and go to the zoo instead. Yeah, but actually, I hear all the museums and zoos and stuff are free.
The Smithsonian.
The Smithsonian ones? Okay. Well, I want to go to the zoo and check out the pandas. If I have time, you might see me at the zoo. Yeah, it's a zoo. It's a free zoo. If you guys have time, you should go to the zoo.
Also, what was like your first job ever, like working like McDonald's type thing job?
My first job ever was at the local grocery store. It was a block and a half away. I did everything except cashier. So I was 15, I think.
I started when I was 14.
Okay, I think 14 is legal. I think 15 is illegal, actually. Oh, really? So I didn't know that. I mean, I had a paper route, but that didn't really count. It was working at a grocery store. I stocked the shelves, I mopped the floor, cleaned everything. Actually, the worst thing was I had to clean the meat rooms. They had a meat department. So a lot of you guys know it. So it was like a huge room. It was like a room and then a freezer. It smells like blood. There are knives everywhere. Like they're like, we pay the meat cleaners $13 an hour. We don't want to pay. It's a lot of money to have them clean it. So they asked me to, and I was making a training wage. I think it was $6 an hour. So I was like, yeah, job money. So I'm cleaning everything. Dude, the meat room, because I actually have to take the bandsaw apart into pieces and clean everything individually, because otherwise it rusts, right? And there's a sink, like a huge sink, soapy water, knives in there. I don't know how many times I cut myself, just like slowly pulling things out. So, which is fine, this was like my solitude time. It was okay. I mean, it's a business. They're trying to make money. From their standpoint, I get it. It kind of sucked for me. But I did this for like 8 months. So cleaning the meat room was like the one thing that I'll never forget. It was a cold room. The only time I get to put on like one of those lab coats or like the meat cutting coats, and I'm just cleaning everything. And it took me like a solid hour and a half. Take apart the grinder, make sure there's no like weird sausages in there. And people are eating food that comes out of here. It's got to be clean for them, right? So it's like it's for the people. Me, it doesn't matter. I got to do a good job. The problem was like later on, they're like, "Osric, you're taking a long time in there. It's like taking you an hour and a half. We expect you to do it in 30 minutes."
No.
I'm like, okay, I'll try to rush it, right? And then I think it was like the second time I did it, all of a sudden I did the math. I'm like, wait a minute. They're paying me $3 to clean this entire room. And then I just started like listing off what else would I give up? Like would I give up like a couple of pieces of candy a week to get somebody to clean this room for me? I'm like, yeah, probably. And so like right away I'm like, I am gonna give you 2 weeks notice and I'm leaving for France tomorrow for 2 weeks. So I think I did that, and that was the last day I did that job. Yeah, that was my first job. Yay. It was alright. It got better after that. Canada Post was next. That was all right. I was really good at sorting mail. Hi.
So Supernatural kind of has like a lot of ghosts on it and stuff. So I was wondering if you had any kind of like paranormal experiences, whether on set or just in your own life.
I mean, I think our mind is such a powerful being, right? It plays a lot of tricks on you and stuff. So usually I can at least rationalize. I mean, in my own house, like we all live upstairs pretty much. Downstairs is like computer room, workout area. My brother's rooms, but they're never there, so it's like empty. And when I was small, every time going into the garage, it was like just that fear that's, I don't know what, something is out there. Or worse than that, swimming, the deep end. Just because I was like, I'm swimming in like contacts, or blind, one of the two. And so you're swimming in the deep end and it's just dark, right? And you always imagine like sharks or like weird mermaid creatures come and grab you. So I know, like even nowadays, I'm like, eyes closed, I'm like, oh, I can see, but I'm peeking and it's just that like, I don't know, that fear, that's always there. So anytime I'm in a pool on my own, I definitely have that. But the only time that was really creepy was in Dallas Con last year. So I did this fan art contest and I took, had 3 winners. I'm like, okay, I'll take it out for dinner and stuff. And we ended up, I like found this thing, dinner and a haunted house thing. Like, let's do it, it's Supernatural related, great. So we go there, we have dinner, and there's like, we thought it was going to be a bigger group, but there was like no one in the restaurant. So like, okay, we'll have dinner. Maybe some other people show up just for the tour, but no one did. And so we're like, okay, where's the tour guide? So we asked the waiter, like, we're here for the dinner and tour package. It's like, oh, I think your guide's at the bar, so when you're ready, just go over there. So we go to the bar. I'm like, hey, we're here for the tour. All right, are you ready? You want to finish your drink, then we can go. And he's like, oh yeah, just give me 5 minutes, I'll come to your table. So we just go back, and like, oh, this is really weird. It's like pouring rain outside. So we sit there, he comes over, he's like, all right, so it's raining really hard. Usually we'll do like the tour of downtown, show you a couple buildings, but because it's raining so hard, we're just gonna go to the haunted house, and it's more fun in there anyway, so we'll just do the whole thing there. I'm like, okay. So we just follow this guy out to the rain through this dark alleyway until we go into this haunted house. So he's telling us that, so this is a haunted house that they built as a haunted house, and then like years later they realized, oh, something's not right. People are like, there's like 2 people that suicided in it. And there's like, and then they start doing research and stuff. It's like, oh, this is a haunted house. So apparently there's like, it used to be an old Indian burial ground. Apparently there are a bunch of those. There's like a lot of gang murders and stuff. And like they had all these mediums come in and they all said the exact same things. Like, yeah, the person that suicided there who actually was murdered. And, all these things started coming up. So we're going through this haunted house while he's telling us all these stories about this place. It's not open. We don't know how he got the key. It's like one of those weird things. And he's taking us through this haunted house. It's like, yeah, usually there's like Rob Zombie music blasting. He kind of looks like this old hippie. It's like, but I think it's probably scarier, like, with all the lights off and like the lighting in the background. I'm like, yeah, it is. So we're walking with only his cell phone light, like lighting up the entire place. Like shadows are everywhere. There's like demons on like bedposts and stuff. Walking through like hallways with hands. And he's telling us about all these ghosts, like appearances, and like keep taking photos. You never know when you might catch an orb. So we're doing this, and he's telling us like horror stories about all of these rooms that we're in while we're in it. And so like, he's like, okay, I don't think I'm allowed to take you here because like one of our security guys was like pushed down the stairs and like for liability reasons. He's like, but I think we should check it out anyways, just be careful. And it was just like it was the whole presentation of it, right? He was like, yeah, I never really believed this stuff. He was like very like just skeptical himself, which made it was like, okay, if he's skeptical, then and he kind of believes it. It was just like the whole thing just made it seem so much more real. Also, we never found out his name. He never introduced his name to us, so it was just this like weird guy with a huge beard that we started following. And by the end of it, we get to this exit door where it's raining, it's in the alleyway. It's like, oh, that's it. And he just walks off. And we're just standing in this dark alleyway, like, what? That was probably the most weird paranormal thing we've ever seen. And out of all the pictures we took, 2 people caught these weird orb things that I don't know what they are, but didn't really look like light things. So I don't know. It was.
Thank you.
That was the closest I ever believed. You're welcome.
Hi. How are you?
Yeah, how are you?
I have 2 very serious questions for you.
Okay.
What's your favorite color?
Great.
And do you want to take a selfie?
Do you want to take a selfie? Is that the song or is that a question?
A little bit of both.
I don't think I'm allowed to take selfies, but if you guys are taking selfies in the lobby, I'll probably photobomb you.
Okay, cool. You're beautiful.
Green. I love green. Hey.
Hi. I wanted to ask you about Kevin's relationship with Crowley, and that scene where Dean tells Crowley, Kevin's dead. What was that look on Crowley's face? Because Crowley's just been really mean to Kevin. He took off a finger, he captured Kevin's small. What is that relationship? Why did Crowley look so surprised?
Because Kevin grew on Crowley. He totally did, and even if Mark says something different, he knows it. It's the same. I grew on Mark too, right? I don't know. Obviously, your relationship starts a little rocky, and then eventually you kind of went on to, because he had an option. He had 9 prophets to choose from. He could have had any one of them, but they were, just okay, well, at least I know that you can do the job, and I feel like Crowley, he likes the challenge. He doesn't just want to be the bad guy that's boop, boop. He'd get bored, right? So to have someone that can, to have a battle of wits with someone and be challenged, I think Crowley really enjoys that, right? He's the king of hell. That's stuff that he gets off on. So I think Kevin gave him that kind of a challenge, and so I like to think that Crowley misses Kevin, and I will always say that.
Thank you.
Osric is such a team player. You always put so much into these things, and yet, I gotta be honest, I'm slightly disappointed. I thought you'd come out in costume. You really dropped the ball. Ladies and gentlemen, Osric Chau, everybody. What are you thinking? What is that?
That's Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet Boys? Play that again because I think it's an appropriate intro for our next person. Here we go. Little Backstreet Boys. Here you go. Every time. Okay, hold on. You know the words of the song? Okay, go ahead. Let's see how this works out.
Guys, I'm not a singer.
It's a live secret karaoke. Sing the ride in your body and dancing like a Backstreet Boy. Just bring this next man to the stage to do a little trivia for you. A very young boy band in a suit. Mr. Gary Burke to the stage for the trivia contest. Women's Idol 140 with Kim Rhodes. She's hot, she's fabulous, and she'll be here. Meanwhile, win something from Gary.